Welcome to creating a game with Angular and PixiJS Day 1. We are experts in front-end development, Angular, React, Node.js, DevOps, project management, UX, and more. If you need application development help, reach out for a free consultation by mailing contact@bitovi.com or visiting our website at bitovi.com. My name is Igor and I'm a member of Bitovi Angular team. Now I would like to introduce my fellows, Mark and Wade. Can you tell us something about you?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. As mentioned, my name is Mark. I like cows and Angular and NX and RxJS and a bunch of other letters.
Thank you. And Wade, I know personally that you have had some experience with creating games in 3D and as well as 2D games.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I'm very passionate about graphic stuff and making games and that sort of thing. And I'm also on the Angular team, so I also like Angular. And cows are okay.
Sounds good. Now I would like to start with sharing my screen, and then we can start with slowly from the scratch creating a game. Initially, everything is starting from a barely new created Angular application in Angular 14.
I think we have like a right click. Oh.
So from here, we can see how currently the application looks.
You're going to want to switch to the other scene to share your screen. This is going to be tiny for everybody, I think.
So can you see the screen?
I mean, in OBS, the screen share scene.
Yeah, so we don't share through Google Chat. And then instead share your screen through
okay.
through OBS.
Sorry.
No problem. Good.
We bouncing around on the screen.
Yeah. It's like musical chat thingies.
So from the screen capture, just a second.
In the meantime, Wade, how's your day been?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. My day just started, of course.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You live a rough life. I know it seems like you sleep in, but I know it's just a time difference, and you sleep in. So you got a double whammy.
Yeah, no, it's both. It's for sure both. Yeah.
That looks good.
Awesome.
Nice.
If our heads are in the way, you can move our heads too.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I see. Just a second.
But I don't think they're going to be in the way of anything at the moment.
All right.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can see later about the moving. So, in the beginning, this is how the application looks. It's a fresh Angular application, and now from here, we will start with Pixi.js application. And as we can see, the Pixi.js is a library that can help us with creating games. And I like making a collaboration between Angular and Pixi.js. And later we will see the advantage of using Pixi.js together with Angular. So from here, we can start with going to the download, and then from here, we'll grab the npm install. So after we install the Pixi.js library, then we will need to do some TypeScript configuration change.
While it's installing, that homepage for Pixi.js.
I was actually just thinking that same thing. I'm like, I kind of want to look into this and see how this. I bet it's a video.
No, because it follows your cursor.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's interactive.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy.
Oh, crazy.
Oh,
so it's a canvas. It's probably using Pixi. That's really cool.
And cool. I mean, from here, I would like to start with actually initially how we are building start building the Angular application. So once the application is installed, currently we are using, I think the latest is Pixi.js version 7. Yeah, it's 7. And we'll start from the app component, and later on we'll create other components like that we will use for the levels in the game, loading the assets, and etc. So let's start with creating the Pixi.js application. We can actually start with just writing a new application, and I'm expecting that Angular will throw some errors. No.
Hey Igor, it looks like, did you by chance minimize the Google Meet window? Because our faces disappeared from the little face boxes. We're looking very gray.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good point.
Yay, we're back.
Awesome. So it seems from here that everything is working, but yeah, now we have the errors that I was expecting, and these errors comes from the TypeScript configuration, and after small research on Google, we can find out that actually we need to do some changes in the TypeScript configuration that includes something like just to double check honestly, inside of the TypeScript configuration we need to include types off-screen canvas, and I think that also like from the TypeScript JSON.
Now, is that something you had to install separately, or is that a dependency of Pixi?
That's because of the Pixi.js dependency, and that started happening from I'm not sure, like I think from the after version 4. Since after version 4, there was a lot of like changes in API, and from here we need to allow syntactic default imports.
Does that go in Angular compiler options or just compiler options?
Just inside of the Angular compiler options, but probably it will work above.
I've never used this for Angular compiler options.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me either, but I found out it's a solution that actually work. I think that after this, yeah.
What is a synthetic default import?
It should allow us to some sort of like imports from the dependencies, but to be honest, I don't know like what is the exact definition of.
Okay, it may be like a a common JS like default export thing, like making that work with TypeScript or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because I know from the little bit I've tried to play with Pixi and TypeScript, you have to do like import star as Pixi, or that's the way most of the like examples recommend. But you can also just import items directly from it. So that's cool. Could you zoom in a little bit on your console? Type's very small.
Yeah.
Or just make the font size a little bigger.
Is there any way? I mean, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that.
Command plus or minus should let you. Sorry, let me notifications here.
And probably I
there we go. That's much better. Thank you.
Probably I miss also something like here. Also, I mean, this is just a warning. We can leave it, but just I see maybe. The
ear cut? Wonder what ear cut is.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a very happy library.
Yeah. What was there? What's it? Poet?
Yeah, I mean, the compiling. I mean, later on, I can take a look and we can come back on this dependencies, but it's just an error. So just a second.
I don't think there's really much we can do about that. If that's a dependency that they use, you can silence it in your Angular JS, but like, it's at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah. Just a warning, at least.
Yeah, it's just saying you can't tree shake it on build.
Actually, like, I mean, what we can do, we can set strict property initialization to be false. This should help. I know that initially we need to do some TypeScript configurations, and just one time, and then we can actually forget about setting up the it's still there, but yeah, I mean, however, we can see later.
Fine.
Okay, so the idea is now from here to start with adding some assets and creating an initial loading screen. We can start that from the app component. Oh yeah, sorry.
The icons are off. I guess wait, we're not. It's not called icons. You would call these. What would you call our heads?
Our faces.
Our faces.
That's what I usually consider is attached to my head. I mean, I could be an icon, but I consider it a face usually.
I prefer icon.
Sorry.
Also, thank you. That looks better.
Yeah.
Cool. So from here, I will start with deleting like initial HTML code, and we can start writing our application. Actually, the first part will be for we can call it app loader, and then from here we'll have game. Sorry, and then from here percentage.
Nice. You can have a loading screen.
Yeah, the loading screen. Cool. We can start from there, and initially what we can do, I was thinking to start just to find out the UI assets that we will use. I have the assets for the game, and
are those just going to go in your assets folder, I assume?
Yeah, yeah, I have here some sort of assets that actually we will use for Captain Talk. That will be our first character that will have some talk about the game, initial introduction. So I will copy all the assets that I have into the game. So from here, I will create in the assets folder that can be characters, and then from here we can have, for example, commander, and then we can have, since we will have a different animation for this character, we can have talk number one, and I will leave the name. I mean, maybe even I can rename quickly since I like enforcing. I'd rather go with the different naming convention. So we can start with number one, and then we can do the renaming. Oh.
So you're just copying. You've got your animation broken into individual sprite files, I guess. That's what this is. The loop talk 0 through 17.
I will write actually like sprite, so it can be sprite, and then after name sprite 1, sprite 2, etc. And then awesome. So now this is how the animation will go. And since we have our assets now here available, we want to load them. So from the app component, first thing that we would need is, for example, using the ng on init or constructor, but I would go with on ng on init. And now actually we can start writing, for example, our function load asset, and then from here what we are looking for is that actually from here we want to add all of these assets. So how that actually will looks is that we want to have, I mean, in the future we will have multiple assets, so we want to create a couple of bundles, and we can start with, for example, creating the commander asset, and for now it should be like any, and then sprite number one should be the name of the assets, and the second place should be the path to the assets. So in this case it should be assets, then characters. If you have any comment or idea how to organize the assets folder, then we can change that. So characters, commander, and then we have animation to
I guess a benefit of if you stick with this sprite 1 through like sprite 18 naming convention, you could make a utility method to generate these bundles, just saying, okay, this is the path to my sprite. It has 18 frames in it, and have it create the file names for you.
Yeah,
cool.
In the future, I mean, we will see all the advantages of using this way of adding assets, so we can easily access to the assets that we are looking for, and then from here we can write the sprite one png. So I will do now for just 2 or 3, and then we can write a function that will actually go through all and that all assets as a function, not like not copying and pasting line by line. So after we add the JSON that include inside of the object all the assets, what we can do, we can can call assets from the Pixi.js. So we will, in the first place, import assets from the Pixi.js, and we will call adding bundle, and we will. This can accept array as well. And then through the array, we can add a few more. If we have multiple assets, we can add them on one place. So from here, what we will do, we'll call this as a commander talk number one, and then we will pass our object. After that, what we want to have is that we want to call promise, and then actually I will move all of this inside of the load asset function. Then from here I will just call loading the assets. So what we want to get is that we want to call the assets and loading the bundle, and here we can pass the all bundles that we want to add, and at the beginning that will be only the commander talk number one, and as a second argument we can pass callback function that will provide us percentage of the loading. So we can console here loading progress, and then so we can see actually how it works. Awesome. And also as I can see now, the all errors disappears, so everything works very smoothly. We don't have any issues inside of the console, and we can see like how the loading progress is going on. It's like 20%, 40%, 60%, and etc. And then from here easily I would add additional variable that will be loading is equal to 0, that is initial state, and then we can say it's not proper, just data loading percentage.
It's like data times 100, basically.
Sorry, data. And from here, then, so we will multiply with 10, and yeah. So then template
Needs to be by 100, right, to get to 100%?
Yeah, it's 100, yeah.
What we should really do is create a percentage pipe in Angular.
Yeah. We have some error.
It's funny, the RxJS fanboy in me is like looking at the callback of the load assist, and it's like, oh yeah, and the next step is obviously we convert this callback to an observable.
So I'm including
Nice.
the network, so we can do some simulation.
Oh, cool. So it's loading up in the assets.
Yeah, and now what I would do is I will just write quickly some loader, like and here use ng style in Angular, and then we'll pass the width.
Looks like it's letting you write in YAML. I guess it's not. No, it's not.
And yeah, that actually should be loading. I think this is the way. And from here, I would add a few things. As a loader, should be And in the meantime, Wade, how is going like on your side with your game demo?
I got a enemy to randomly move around the screen and spin, but you can't intersect with it or interact with it yet. I haven't looked up how collisions work.
All right. Here,
We have a question in chat. What's the name of the lib that does that gives you the loading state? Is it assets?
It's part of Pixi.js, right?
yeah, it's Pixi.js. So everything that we will build, that we will building, will go through the Pixi.js, and on top of that, we will add everything that is going on together with Angular, like RxJS, NGRX, and maybe in the future Firebase for making the multiplayer game. Percentage should be
Yeah, nicely. I for a project we used what's it, WebRTC for multiplayer, and then that created a bit of overhead for a lot of the devs because we had a bunch of Python devs trying to write JavaScript, and we found that the performance difference of just using Firebase was almost unnoticeable. So it's like, let's just use Firebase.
yeah. It doesn't seem it works.
That's a pretty good loading bar. Can't wait for it to fill up or whatever.
Let's see now what part is missing. Oh,
If you want to be real fancy, this would be a great case for using custom CSS properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I always want to call custom CSS variables. But
you can't. I mean, use var is how you access them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
hey.
And so I will spend some time before we move to the other part of the app, and this is pretty much that just to return that we'll look how to create, and that would be this preloading screen with all like graphics around, so this screen will look much prettier. That will include loading the additional fonts, and then we'll switch to the actually creating the first sprites. Or yeah, I mean, on the other hand, we can create just to keep everything much more interesting. I can do that on the second place, and now we can actually start and running the first animation using the Pixi.js, and then we can see
animation.
Yeah, I'm super curious about how the animation process is for Pixi.
So here, what we have 18 sprites, and then what I would write here is, I mean, definitely you can suggest better approach. I'm completely open. I would go with a simple for loop that will go from the 0 to the 18, and then here this is actually what we are looking for, is to add sprite number. Yeah. So this will be sprite number 1.
This makes sense.
And from here, I would copy this.
You're going to want your range to only go to 17, though, I think, if you're adding 1 to it. Because you go from 1 to 18, yeah.
So, I mean...
Oh, it's well, it's less than, never mind.
Okay. So
we're developers.
And from here, what we will have to avoid like using the type of honey, we can say, I mean, actually, it's, yeah, it is type of honey. Later on, we can see about the interfaces and
Make it a record string.
I
Yeah.
think you can go even better than that.
Could you,
Assets
I mean,
to add bundle expects an array or resolver assets object.
so what, I mean, how the...
So resolver assets object, maybe a type that already exists?
Yep.
Nice.
And then does it auto
Oh,
import?
yeah.
No fixes available.
It said to import it, or maybe it's on our side. For those watching, Wade and I are connected through live share
Oops.
extension.
There we go. Woohoo! That looks nice.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
so now we are adding the commander talk number 1, and we can see how actually from here we'll create another variable that will be game assets. And we can do one more console log so we can see what is going on behind this variable. Okay, now I would...
Ooh, we need to do some decibel truncation on that percentage.
Yeah, I will disable this. So
Yeah.
we see now as a game assets, we have a commander talk 1 that include all the sprites that we need and the all textures. So from here, now once the assets are loaded, we are coming to the interesting parts. So first, we need to have the character that can be type of Pixi. I would import actually the whole, so yeah, so we can have all types that are included inside of the library.
Oh, tree shaking.
And here we can say that our character is actually represent the animation is a new animated sprite, and we need to pass the array of textures. And since, as we can see here, our sprites is an object, and we need to transform to the array, I would go with this solution. Probably, yeah, we can find out some better one, or later we can write some helper service for that. So I would go with this, and then I will extract all object keys from the it's called commander talk.
Would object.values also work and just give you the textures directly?
I think
Just
so.
curious. Okay.
Yeah.
That way you wouldn't have to do the mapping.
Yeah. Unless you're trying to support IE, in which case,
yeah,
stick with that object.keys, I think. I don't know. It's been a while.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking to do the map and then, but probably, no, it doesn't work. I mean, sure, yeah.
Oh, because it's just strings, of course. Wait, no, it shouldn't be.
No.
Weird. Never mind. Sorry, ignore me. Just go with what you're doing.
Okay. And then from here, you should go game assets. Where we will pass just. I mean, probably it should be the same thing.
Cannot read properties of undefined reading texture.
Oh, because let's see.
Oh, that's 18 textures.
Yeah.
I think you got one. Wait a minute.
I'll do the console
That's
log
right.
of my solution as well.
Compare
Definitely,
them.
yeah, the
No, that's
solution.
fine.
Oh,
It's
maybe
import Lodash and do an array comparison, a deep array comparison. All right, one is a bunch of undefines. The other one is a bunch of textures. Very suspicious behavior.
Oh, but no.
Which one is values is undefined?
No, it's
No,
fine.
values works.
Oh.
This will work. This will work. But yeah, yeah, it works now. The issue was here, but since we are, we are getting the same result in both approach, I would go rather with object values. Since
Cool.
we got the same solution, but then from here, maybe we can go with.
We could actually, if you know what it's going to be, we could just do that. And I think it'll give us the type directly. Well, it's not going to work, but.
And then what to remove on the end?
Yeah, now you don't have to cast it.
Okay.
Yeah, good catch. Yeah, whenever you notice that like some things give you like the any, it's always nice to just double check those generics and see if you can just hint what it's supposed to do.
Cool. So what we have now, we have the animated sprite, but we need to show that in our app. And from here, we can create a new div that will represent the game, and we can create a div where the ID actually will represent. We can call it like Pixi game container or whatever you would like, and the same thing. The same name reference I will set here, and then inside of the component we will include that as a view child, and that will I would add static to be true, and that will be the element reference type of the element reference. And now what we need to add is in the first place we want to add the game Pixi game application. So what we will do is in the end we'll say that in a native element, and we'll say append child to be this game view. And before that, we need to add the character inside of the game. So we can do that, including the so inside of the game, it's pretty much like it can remind us back in time on Flash. So with the movie clips and all and the approach of how to align the elements, and later on we will see how the game is organized with layers and the other things. And on the stage we will add our character. So
hey,
here we go, but it doesn't do anything, like it looks like an image. So what we need to set before we add, or after we add to the stage, we should run playing.
Do you have a idea, like are you setting the stage to be a certain size, or is it just, do you know what the default size is?
I would go with the desktop version. That will be 1092 x 900 and 30. But
Right.
we can go I mean, the point is like only with the aspect ratio, and we can see how that actually using the CSS can fit to any screen. So here we can see the first animation, but it seems like pretty much super fast. So what we can set here is the speed, just to see. It should be just to remember actually what was the how we can set the speed.
I think speed's a property, but it may be like a private property.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yeah, oh yeah, animation speed, and
Animation speed, that makes sense.
yeah, we can slow it like for double. Maybe we can't see any difference. Yeah, no, definitely slower. And looks good. So we slowed by the 60%, we slowed the animation, and from here, if we do the inspect, we will see that this is the canvas. From here, what we can do quickly, just to go through the one more example and to repeat what we have done so far. We can add one more element to the screen. For example, I will add quickly one more character that will be our potential enemy in the game. Type 1, then moving. So from here, inside of the assets folder, now we have the enemy and sprite, from sprite 1 to sprite 26. And pretty much we'll do the same thing like we did here. I would add for example, like, I mean, we can copy and paste all of this, and later on we can rewrite this to some helper function, animation, and and how many sprites we have? 26, and the path will be instead of commander, it will be the enemy. I think it's type 1.
And then we just got to update line 34.
And I think yeah, because I didn't write the full path. So moving, and now we have the animation assets for the enemy that we would add as a new bundle. And from here, animation assets. And here we'll pass that we want to load at the same time the other bundles. And here I would add enemy. Pretty much the same thing. I will comment the animation speed, or no, I'll keep it. Enemy. So let's see how it looks. Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, I hit the wrong refresh button. Does it work?
Like, oh, he's gone.
Like, oh no,
So,
we'll have to.
probably I missed something. Let's see what part is missing. So I've been
Cannot
doing.
convert undefined or null to object, calling it that function dot values.
I'll see the console. Yeah, we have enemy animation. Probably, yeah, it's not the enemy, it's enemy animation assets. All right, and now we need to add the enemy on the stage as well. And now we can see how we'll have on the first layer the character, and above the character will be the enemy, and we will then move the enemy on the other spot. Actually, it's not showing. I didn't refresh. Yeah. Oh, it's cool. So what we can do from here, we can scale a little bit this enemy to be, for example.
The animation's a bit jumpy at the end of the
Yeah.
cycle.
Scale. Set to be. Oh yeah, it's jumping a little bit. Probably I'm missing some sprite. I would do.
Making the truncating the decimal percentage loading.
Let me. Just to be sure that it works like it should. 6. Yeah. To be honest, probably the assets are not perfect, but they should be.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It almost looks like just the last sprite. Maybe if you do like, maybe it's like part of another sequence or something. I don't know.
Oh, it's a
It
huge
wasn't.
jump.
It didn't look weird earlier, right? When it was just the enemy.
It did.
It did. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I will actually probably. I think that maybe that happened before because I renamed the character. So I will do. I'll try with using this original assets name.
It's not that big a deal, but
Uncaught in promise. Loader.load failed to load. Something about skeleton.
I see. Yeah. Oh, now it looks.
Oh, because it's 0. It starts
Probably,
index
yeah.
0.
No, it was the issue was when I started renaming, and then the sort with renaming wasn't proper, and now the animation seems very smooth.
Yeah, that looks right.
Cool.
No.
Probably the same thing happened for Commander as well. So I can fix that later. All right. So what we can do now, we can actually increase the size a little bit, and we can move our enemy on the right side. So we'll set the enemy x coordinate will be, for example, 600 from the beginning, like here, and we can do the same thing for the epsilon or y here to put a little bit down. Yeah, it looks pretty much nicer. And now there is a couple of ways how we can actually control the animation in the game and move the or do anything that is needed inside of the game using the frame rate. So what we need actually an update on every refresh rate, which is like 60 frames per second or even 120. We can do that using the request animation frame, and that is something that is actually is coming natively as a native function from the browser. And how it works like, I will do just the console log so we can see. So it happens like one time, and then based on our frame rate, we will call infinity loop and call the function itself like all the time. Or we can use the better approach using the Pixi.js ticker function. So we can add inside of our game a ticker, and from here what we'll do, I will just put some console log so we can see how often is happening. So I will just write frame per second, and we can see that it's actually like it's happening all the time, and that can that can help us like with controlling the our elements in the game. And so from here, what we can do, we can add this enemy.
So ticker.add, you can have multiple tickers that I assume you can cancel if you want to have like, because I think game also comes with a default ticker just called tick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's correct. But usually, how it works, we will see in the future. For example, for the enemy, we'll have the different class, and then we will call for each element on the screen. We will call the update function that will do a necessary update that needs to happen for that element. So from here, what we would like is just to move the element by x, for example, by -1, and yeah, it's moving. So you can speed up that using like -2, and obviously it's moving much faster. -6, yeah, it's flying. So this is how we can, just an idea how we can control the game assets in the game, and then later on we will create advanced logic for moving the elements and then hitting the elements and firing some gunshots and etc. But overall, everything is will be around the animated or just a regular sprite, if that is like, for example, some sprite. Cool. Do you have any comments on this, or do you have any suggestion?
I had a question about the ticker.add. So is this roughly 60 frames per second?
Actually, it's not. It can be like I think on this screen.
I think the function gives you a delta to let you know how much time has passed.
Yeah. So we can function. to be honest, we can see from their documentation officially.
Oh, this is gonna be hard for us to see.
20 times. Ooh, it's a little better.
So yeah, we have that shared ticker that is like I think by default, and it's available around the app. And we have yeah, we can set the target frame per second. Default is like 60 frame per second, but on the from my experience, it can be like much more than 60 frame per second. It depends how is like the set it. So here is like the default is 60 usually, and we can set also the maximum number and minimum number of frame per seconds.
Oh, nice. You do have some pretty fine control over that. And then I guess the delta is useful for letting you know if frames got dropped, like you can make up for it and things don't stop moving.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, wait, you can write a delta calculation so we can print the number of frame per seconds.
I think you just get like a parameter here, like if I do, this will tell us how much time elapsed between frames. And ideally, if it's 60 frames per second, it should be, Mark, do that math for me. How many, how much?
One.
Oh. One. Okay, so it's roughly one. Some of them it's a little higher. Oh, I got one that says 3.
Oh, interesting. For me, it's always 1.
Oh, well, you must be not running lots of things on your computer.
Yeah, my computer's just beefy.
I guess. Beefy machine.
Yeah. I got that Chad MacBook Pro.
Mine are pretty consistently 1.0007.
So like 1-ish.
Yeah.
1-ish. All right. And what was the delta supposed to be again? I
You were supposed to answer that. Delta is the amount of time that elapsed since the last frame. So if we're going for 60 frames per second, how much time should elapse between each frame?
I think it should be
a second.
calculated.
Yeah, a second. No, wait, no, less than
it shouldn't be like a second.
A millisecond? Yeah. I don't know what the delta is in terms of. That's another question. What unit is the delta in?
That's a weird question. Like how much time should be between each frame? That's 60 frames per second. So whatever 1,000 divided by 60 is.
Of a frame, yeah. 160 per second.
The second. What we can do here, I mean,
17 milliseconds, says AJ, and I believe him because that's a number. It's better than what I came up with.
All right, let's see here. 1,000 divided by 60.
Oh, well,
16.6 milliseconds.
How many?
16.6 for ever milliseconds.
All right, so I don't know what this actual number means then, because I'm getting 1.007.
I don't know.
Well, this is something that a while ago I did. For example, what we can do, we can write frame per second refresh counter, and that can be like initially 0, and then we can write kind of referent value that will be frame per second refresh just a number, and that can be 10. So it means like we will calculate based on the after each 10 seconds, and what we will do, we'll also write frame per second. I think it that will not be, should be like this, and then frame per second will be plus equal, and and we will check if the.
Oh, nice. Okay, so this will give you like an average.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do is plus. And now if the frame per second is number, so after 10 seconds, or actually it's not 10 yeah, 10 seconds, we'll see, I think it's 10 milliseconds, we will got that that frame per second will be math round of our frame per second and frame per second refresh number, and from here it will be, we'll just then reset our frame per second to be null, 0, and to be 0 as well. So it should give us some bit of information. No, actually it doesn't.
Seems like a lot of mathy maths. Is it possible to just, does the framework, does the library offer anything and like out of the box to kind of mitigate this?
I would hope or
I assume
expect
so,
it
right?
might. I don't know.
Does max FPS and min FPS have anything here? Because they're mentioning things about clamping.
I mean, in the end, you can see Pixi.js.
Yeah, could you try to set the min and max FPS to what's it called? 60?
Oh, we actually, it's here. We can probably use something like this. So it should be yeah, there is a Pixi.js.
There's apparently a pixi.ticker.share.fps property you can look at too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm currently looking.
At least there was in 2019. I don't know if it still is.
FPS is read only. It should be 60.
Yeah, it's 60 frames per second.
Oh, you're already doing that. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, additionally, what we can do, we can add. Let's see. I mean, all of this is unnecessary. Yeah, it's 60 frames per second. Great.
Yeah, could you set the clamps? Can you set min and max to 60?
Yeah.
This should be like this dot in FPS 60.
I mean we can just set
Mine's
like
saying
minimum
stuff different than
10.
just 60. I'm getting a bunch of different numbers. It went from
set
60 to 30 to 15 to 20.
Yeah, I will double it, like just divide so we can see how it works on slower frame per second. Yeah, now it's 30. So yeah, definitely.
And then we're not consoling out the what's it called, the DT.
No, we don't. I mean, but I can do it like here as well.
Yeah.
So it looks like the shared FPS does fluctuate based on performance. So it's.
So yeah, now it's 2. It's depending, like if it's lower, then it's higher. Cool.
Still seems really odd. That's not. Can we set both the clamps to 60? Because like if it tries to literally be 60 frames per second on the dot, we should be expecting numbers around 17. I thought.
I think the number from the delta is probably the number of ticks that have occurred since last, or should have occurred. So like the 1.07 means it's a little over 1, which would be about right. It's going a little slow. So it's not, I don't think the delta is in terms of times. I think it's in terms of how much should have elapsed. Because you can use it in as a multiplier in things like movement to say, should this have, if it's perfect, it should just return 1 and not change your animations. If it's, for some reason, it was slow and it ends up being like a 3, you don't want an enemy just not make it across the screen. You want them to jump and get to where they're going.
Interesting.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So like if you want to show someone's like frames per second, you can like take the frames per second times it by that delta and be like, this is like how laggy you are. It should be 60 if you're not laggy.
Yeah.
It's mostly showing, like for me, I'm seeing almost consistently, I'm seeing pretty much consistently 60 frames per second. I think there were a couple times before where it would drop to something below that, but it's mostly doing 60. So it seems like it's about right.
Cool.
And one more useful, interesting information about this is like actually setting the application size. Currently, it's is default one, and it can be very useful later on. We'll see how we can use the Angular material function and to do all unnecessary modification for creating a responsive game, like how the game will switch from the mobile to the desktop screen and to rearrange all elements like around the game. So from here, in the beginning, we will have only the desktop application, and we can set our width to be, I'm usually going with this this size of the application. And as we can see, currently it's in black color, and we can make the color to be transparent, and then we can set the background alpha to be 0. Currently I will keep to number 1, so we can see one more thing. So as we can see, since this is a very big screen, it doesn't fit to all angles of the window, but we can use the CSS here, and we can set our game to be position fixed with top position and left position. So I mean, this is one of my approach that I find out very actually useful, since you are expecting the game will be fitted inside of your screen. So it's not like very common to use the position fixed in CSS, but in this case I find out actually as a good approach. And then we can set our Pixi game container, and yeah, we can have as many Pixi.js application if you want to have multiple of them. It's not only one. And actually, yeah, from here then, since this is basically image, we can set the width to be 100% and height to be 100% and position absolute. Oh, and from here, this is the only way directly. No, I think that actually this is needed from the since this is the canvas, we should access to that from the component level. I will double check that. However, this is the idea to have all element in the game with position absolute. I will later on apply that for the loader as well. And actually, Mark, do you have idea about setting the static to be true for view child? Why is that? I mean, I can't remember why I find out that is a good solution. We can, I mean, we can go with different approach, but I think that that actually helps.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what exactly by help. I don't know what helping it we're implying, but by making it static, Pixi game contains
Welcome
Pixi.
back.
Welcome back.
Sorry.
Pixi game container is referenceable on ng-on init. When it's static. If you remove the static, it won't be referenceable on ng-on init.
Oh, okay. It's good to know. All right. From here, just a second.
Yeah, it's actually funny. What's it? The Angular devs actually recommend by default don't use static. It's true. I forgot which page that they say this on, or what context that they meant that in.
Okay. And from here, about setting the game after we add the game inside of the our container on the element, what we can do, we can set for our Pixi, actually for our game stage. Or it's not game view. Yeah, we can set style, and that we'll see how that will apply to be 100%, but as a string.
Canvas elements, typically you have to have a pixel width and height on them, and the style doesn't actually affect it. But maybe this is maybe they're set up to refresh.
This should work.
Interesting to see how it's working.
So, I mean, and the height can be null. I mean, we'll leave it as it is. So yeah, using this aspect ratio, what we have done with this is that we added the width to be 100%, and that actually keep the aspect ratio and stretch the whole app around. So we can see that is followed the whole aspect ratio. So this is the initial aspect ratio of our app. So we can see also, since this is widescreen, oh yeah, and then here I would set, I think now it will be, yeah, now it's covering all the screen, and I can go with background alpha and set that to 0, so we can see the all elements behind our application. Cool. Since this is pretty much everything that I planned for the first stream, and on the second part of building the app on this stream, I will do some not boring stuff, but not interesting like this one, that will be creating the CSS and HTML, importing the fonts inside of the app. So before I move to that part, if you have any comments, questions, I would like to answer.
where would be a good place for those watching to mention this stuff? Do we have like I know we have a community Discord, but do we have like a specific section in our Discord that we could ask questions?
I think we
Just-
have a game, but I'm not sure is it supposed for that we have game channel. Maybe there.
They're also just asking JavaScript.
That's true. Yeah, so if you have questions, just hit every single channel. Just ask the question in every channel. Do that.
Follow
Just
the
spam.
rules. Follow the rules.
No,
Follow
don't.
the rules.
Just do what you gotta do. Got to get your answers. Yeah. Other thing to note about the Discord, my phone, 35 minutes into the stream on Twitch, I got a notification that we went live. If you really want to know when we go live, because Twitch is dumb, follow us on Discord, because that'll give you the actual time when we're going live.
Great. So, I mean, from here, I will move now, and I will try to do that in the fastest way as possible, just to create and to add additional graphic for this loader, and to have to make everything actually to looks more like a game instead of blank screen. And after that, next week we can proceed with creating more animation in the game. For example, choosing the player and then moving to creating the first interaction between our players and enemies, and how we can actually move in the space and how to control all assets together. So from here, I would say that as a Pixi.js and Angular collaboration, like using the both at the same time, what we kind of learn on this switch is that in the first place, once we install the Pixi.js, we need to go through the TypeScript configuration, and we need to add a couple of compiler options here and as well, and inside of the TypeScript configuration file we need to actually add off-screen canvas. After that, we are starting with adding the new application that will create a Pixi.js application instance that we will later on set inside of our template that we will access through the view child. And this is one of the way. There is also other way of adding the assets inside of the game, and in this example we used adding the assets as a bundle, so we can have multiple bundles, and that can give us ability later on to access to all assets very easily. So as we can see from here, we actually added animated sprite, just passing, like from the game assets, we are passing the bundle that include all sprites for that character or object. And then from here we can play around with setting for that element in the game, animation speed, scale, x or epsilon coordinate in the game, and that was what we initially done. And after that, we saw how actually frame per second and ticker help us to actually make this game playable, I will call it like that, and live, so you can actually have much more interaction and elements that are moving. So, and in a second phase of this switch, I will just start with doing some UI stuff that are more or less rely on HTML and CSS and things like that we have done here for the progress bar. And yeah, that's also other thing that we saw, how we can set and use the callback from the assets load bundle and in the coming up weeks, we'll move forward each week with how we will build the game, and everything is like in freestyle, so there is no final plan or roadmap how we will build this game. So we'll do that live on Twitch. So any comments or ideas are more than welcome.
Awesome.
Cool. Then I will start with the second part of the Twitch. So from here, what I will extract this asset as a PNG, and usually, to be honest, I didn't explore using the Pixi.js with SVG and vector types. That would be awesome. It should work, but I didn't personally work with that pretty much. And all of this, I mean, all of this, like the graphics, like the progress bar, background, and things like that. We are looking always to, I mean, we are looking always to do everything through the CSS if it's doable, other than just using the graphic, because that will slow down the application itself. So it's always better to go with the Angular approach. So what I will do, I will copy inside of our assets. I will copy the logo that we will use. So just a second. So usually what I'm doing, like for the assets like this one, I'm adding them as a common assets. So logo and everything, like what we can use there, for example, the avatar pictures or something like that, everything will be under the common directory, and it's here, so we can see it. And just a second.
So this is like kind of like prep work for the next stream.
Actually, I will integrate everything right now. It shouldn't take us so much time. So what I will copy here is the Bitobi logo that we will use below the loader, and and on just a second. Yeah, and the logo of the game. I will call that just as a logo, and this can be. So from here, I mean, this is, we had a screen that we are looking to achieve. So this will be the assets and then common, and from here will be the logo, and also we are looking up here to set the Bitobi. It looks already much better. And uploader, here I would love to use the ng-false, and here later on we'll use the ng if it's loading, and the uploader, honestly, the uploader, this is my practice. I'm using like CSS gradient. I'm not so good with writing from the scratch. It just save me time. So so from here, and after that I'll move and take the colors that I'm using here. Actually, I would go with, not so good with Illustrator, so I would open everything in Sketch. It will help me a little bit. So the first color will be at the top, and the second from the bottom. Something like this. So then I will add that as a, let me see, yeah, the lighter should be at the top. So this should be will not have a middle color, and everything should start here. Great. I will set inside of the default style sheet that body padding should be 0. Margin as well. And yeah, it looks better. Then the same thing. I will go with position fixed and top and width height. So, or it seems good. And after that, I will add display as a flex with justify content and alignment to be center. Cool. Flex direction should be a column. And the image, actually the logo, and one more thing, like for the alt, I'm putting the asterisk value, and usually when I'm writing the CSS, I'm not using the IDs, very common, only for the things that actually I need to know that I'm having them only once in the template. So I mean, the point is that we can use the here also as a CSS selector the ID instead of the class. Probably that at some point will be maybe more appropriate, but I'll go with this, like game logo. And for the game logo, since it depends on the screen size, I will just add to be, for example, 40% width, and the height should fit better. Looks maybe too big. So yeah, this is great. 20%. So I'll add the 20% for the percentage. Let me see what we are building. Oh yeah, what we need here, we need the font. So let me just check what is the font we will use. So it's a Google font, and okay, that's it. I will import that inside of our main style sheet since we want to have the access across the app, and I would set that as a default font inside of the body. So any element inside of the app will have that font family. So let me see how it looks now. Much better. So what we want to have also, we will have at top of this the text. And one more thing that I'm personally like is that from here, just a second, as an app loader, I find out that creating like nesting way of writing CSS, I find out is very useful. For example, in the app component, we have the app loader, and later on, maybe we'll have the other things, but the point is that only something that is like inside of the loader and the text, since the text is something very general and probably we will use on the different place, this style sheet will apply only here. So we want to have the color that is white, and font size, for example, 14 or 16 pixels. Okay, and it needs to be position absolute since the element of the loader is relative. Okay, on the top and on the left, and width should be 100%, and height. I mean, what we can do, we can write a height of 20%, or rather go with a height of 100%, and then that will actually follow this height as well. So if you change here to 30 pixel, it will be automatically resized to that value. And then here I would add the text align to be center. Cool. It looks good.
That's pretty good. I think we are coming close to time for this stream. Can we?
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, I will finish this layout, and I will publish everything to the GitHub. So we'll have inside of the each week we'll have everything in the separate branch, like the day 1, day 2, and we will see how we are moving. So if someone would like to later on to return back on, for example, day 1, that will be doable. Cool. I'm glad that you be my guest in the first pitch, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. For me, it was a great experience.
Yeah, it's crazy how much Pixi.js can get done in such a short amount of time. I'm actually kind of surprised how much progress has been made already.
Yeah, definitely. So, Igor, will you share that repo link on the Discord once you got it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Once I finish the Twitch, I will share that to the on Discord as well.
Okay, and then I guess folks follow us here, and then also like our Twitter, and join the Discord, and you'll get notifications of when the next stream's going to be once we've got that figured out.
Awesome.
Thank you, and see you then next week.
Yeah, thank you guys.